May the road rise up to meet you, and the wind be on your back. May the sun shine warm upon you, and the rain.
Hello, and welcome back. Today we want to look at week 6 of the Road Rising series, which is going to cover days 29 to 35. Or if you have the edition of the Road Rising that follows the calendar, then you'll be looking at January 29th to February 4th. Last time we saw the pilgrim meeting an older gentleman who goes by the name of Charlie. You may have noticed that the pilgrim's name has not been given yet, and I'm afraid it never will be. That was by intention, however, because I want you, the reader, to see yourself in this backpacker's life. The pilgrim's journey is one that each and every one of us must take, and I don't want you to be distracted by a name that doesn't describe you. The setting was a little more difficult, but as much as possible, I've tried to keep geographic markers at a minimum as well. Whoever you are, wherever you live, it's my prayer that you will take on the pilgrim's persona. Look at his life. See where your own life shows through. I want you to enjoy this story, but I also want you to become the story. More on that as we go along. You also were introduced last week to the concept of rendezvous. I won't go into a lot of detail here, except to say that it's going to be a major part of the narrative. So pay attention when it comes up. The main event of this past week is the pilgrim's encounter with what's known as the evil man. Again, I don't want to give him a specific name because he goes by so many. Suffice it to say that everything good you're going to experience in this book is the exact opposite of everything the evil man stands for. Where the journey itself is designed to build you up and make you into what you were created to be, he wants nothing less than your complete and absolute destruction. Rest assured, he hates you with a hatred that is just about as pure and as an imperfect creation can produce. And why? Because God loves you. He loves you with a perfect love that will carry you all the way to his kingdom. If nothing else comes to light as you read the Pilgrim's Journal this week, I hope you'll come to understand that when it comes to the evil man, you cannot be Switzerland. There is no neutral ground between him and God. And if you've declared yourself to be a follower of Jesus Christ, well then you've just painted a big target right here on your forehead. Neutrality is not an option, nor is appeasement. The only way to survive this journey is to keep your eyes focused on your Creator. Accept his offer of love and forgiveness. Go forward boldly with the assurance that you belong to the one who made you and gave you life. And here's a bit of practical advice. Stay on the trail. Take some time to think about that, will you? Talk about it with those friends whose opinions you can trust. And remember the words of the Apostle Peter in his first letter, chapter 5, verses 8 and 9, where we read, "Be controlled and alert. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour. Resist him, standing firm in the faith, because you know that your brothers throughout the world are undergoing the same kind of sufferings." Let me close by reading from the Pilgrim's Journal. This is day 29. The pilgrim writes, "I camped early last night, hoping Charlie might catch up and spend the evening with me. I wonder if I'll meet more like him at rendezvous. And what is that anyway? I started out before the sun had even cleared the treetops, hoping, I suppose, for something special today. I found it, but not at all what I was imagining. I saw him from a long way off, the figure of a man moving toward me. That was strange. I didn't think anyone walked the opposite direction on this trail. Never mind, it was another person, and after meeting Charlie, I was looking forward to another conversation. As the distance between us grew shorter, I began to notice things which seemed out of place. He didn't carry a backpack, but he did walk with a stoop, as if holding something heavy. He kept his face to the ground without once looking up. For a while I wondered if he even knew I was approaching. Suddenly, from behind me, far off in the forest, I heard the high-pitched cry of a mountain lion. I jumped and looked back, and then turned around to see that the stranger had come closer, much closer. He had stopped and lifted his head as if to listen. I saw his face then and felt a cold chill. He was smiling, but it wasn't the kind of smile you give a stranger on the trail. It seemed to say, "I know something you don't." I called out, "Did you hear that?" He said nothing, just stood there and kept smiling. It was an awkward moment, so I tried again. "Which way are you going?" Stupid question, and the expression on his face confirmed it. It was becoming apparent that he didn't intend speaking, so I started to move on. He remained firmly planted, his eyes burning their way into mine, and that smile never changing. "See you." I half mumbled, then realized that was a stupid thing to say as well, since we seemed to be going in opposite directions. I stepped off the trail to get around him, and as I cinched up my backpack to move on, I heard him say, almost in a whisper, "See you." Was he mimicking me? Was that an attempt at civility? I turned to speak, and he was gone. The trail was empty as far as I could see, and there was no place for him to hide. Suddenly I felt a surge of adrenaline and a heartfelt desire to use it. I moved quickly down the trail, looking over my shoulder every few steps. Tonight the clouds cover the stars, and it seems darker than it's ever been. What did he mean by "see you"? That's the last thing I want. Be safe this week, okay? Knowing that the God who made you also loves you and wants the very best for you. Let's meet again next time, okay? Y'all come back now, here. Was it possible that he was driven to this mountaintop by the same faceless terror which I too had met?